This also comes under the branch of applied psychology. Let us see what is health psychology. Health psychology concerns itself with understanding how biology, behavior, and social context influence health and illness. Health psychologists generally work alongside other medical professionals in clinical setting, although many also teach and conduct research. Although his early beginning can be traced to be the kindred field of clinical psychology, four different approaches to health psychology have been defined: clinical, public health, community, and critical health psychology. I would like to give a very good example of health psychology that there were two wards containing cancer patients. One ward was it both the wards were in severe problem. So a health psychologist decided a solution for that. One group he named as experiment group, another group he named as a control group. For the experiment group, he used to give the dose as possible, and he used to give some voice of motivation to the patients before he used to give the doses of medicine. And this control group, as usual, he used to give medicines as per the prescription. After 15 days, he find that there is a drastic improvement in the experimental group rather than in control group. So the main motivation thing is that the motivation itself. Health psychologists believe that it is all in our mind. The determination, the adaptability comes from our mental status. So if a person motivates you that yes, you can wake up from the bed and can perform all the challenges, slowly and slowly you develop in that mind that I can do it. So the main intention of health psychologist is that we should motivate, we should enhance the psychological traumatic experiences from them and give them a very peaceful environment and give words of motivations to them, so that what I told you, that it is all our mental status that creates most of the cases the dilemma in physical body. So the health psychologists believe that motivation, these words, reinforcements are needed to have a good life. Next we can see in health, after that we have medical psychology. Now medical psychology involves everything that is required as a medicinal cure for the persons involved in these all problems. For an example, the American Psychological Association defines medical psychology as a branch of psychology that integrates somatic as well as psychotherapeutical modalities into the management of mental illness, health rehabilitation, and emotional, cognitive, behavioral, and substance use disorders. The medical psychologist's contribution in the areas of psychopharmacology will set it apart from other psychotherapy and psychotherapists. So this was about health and medicine. Now let us see the next. Industrial and organizational psychology. Now when we say industrial and organizational psychology, it focuses on the psychology of the workforce, customer, and consumer, including issues such as the psychology of recruitment, selecting employees from an applicant pool, training, performance appraisal, job satisfaction, work motivation, work behavior, stress at work, and management. In short, industrial and organizational psychology is the application of psychology to the workplace. A core aspect of this field is job analysis, the detailed study of which behaviors a given job entails. For an example, when developing requirements for a new job position, the recruiters are looking for an applicant with strong communication skills in multiple areas. The developing of the position requirements falls under the industrial psychology, human resource type work, and the requirement of communication skills is related to how the employee interacts with his co-workers. As seen here, it is hard to separate task of developing a qualification list from the types of qualification on the list. This is parallel to how the industrial and organizational psychology are nearly inseparable in practice. Therefore, industrial and organizational psychology are generally rounded in both industrial and organizational psychology, though they will have some specification. Military psychology is one other area which includes research in the classification, training, and performance of the soldiers. Industrial psychology is and organizational psychology helps in understanding the behavioral aspects of the job seekers as well as the already people working in a company, because the job satisfaction is necessary wherever we work, and the job satisfaction also gives us a positive input for the work we are doing. So these entire things are being studied in industrial and organizational psychology. A very good example is like it can be seen that when we give interview in corporate houses or other places, renowned places, right from the interview, they check from bottom to top your personality traits, the way you interact, the way you sit, the way you talk, the way you communicate. They analyze the entire thing and then they come to the conclusion, yes, this person can be recruited. During your probationary period, they analyze whether this person is good with his co-workers, whether he is able to satisfy the customers, can he work under the the pressure, or can he handle the things in a spur of the moment. So all this study considers in the organizational as well as industrial psychology. It's a trend setter nowadays. For an example, recruiting teachers in schools also, this type of psychology is used. As a teacher, how she is able to make her concept understandable to the students, how she can take care of the students who are individually different in the class. She or he is able to manufacture good products, right? So all this study comes under industrial psychology. Now let us see the next, neuropsychology. As the word itself says, as neuropsychology, it relates to our brain. Neuropsychology studies the structure and function of the brain as they relate to specific psychological processes and behaviors. It is seen as clinical and experimental field of psychology that aims to study, access, understand, and treat behaviors directly related to brain functioning. The term neuropsychology has been applied to list of studies in human and animals. It also been applied to efforts to record electrical activity from individual cells in higher primates. It is scientific in its approach, making use of neuroscience, and shares an information processing view of the mind with cognitive psychology and cognitive science. Next, school psychology. Now the word school psychology is also a field that applies principles of clinical psychology and educational psychology to the diagnosis and treatment of students' behavioral and learning problems. School psychologists are educated in child and adolescent development, learning theories, psychological and psychoeducational assessment, personality theories, therapeutic interventions, special education, psychology consultation, child and adolescent psychopathology, and the ethical, legal, and administrative course of their profession. A teacher cannot manage the entire class and understand. The teacher cannot understand what is going in the mind of a student. Now here the psychology plays an important role in assessing the transformation that occurs in the child's mind. Now as a counselor, as a school of psychology suggests that the students should be taken that much care, and the teacher indicate that this student is creating this certain fuss in the class every time she teaches in the class. So to give individual attention to all the 100 students in the class is not possible. So the school of psychology helps the teacher to understand the student, what the transformations are going in the class, to analyze the problems of the student. So this time the school of psychology or the counselors helps the student to maneuver the problems, to overcome the problems, and to lead a very psychological study, routine, a positive activity in the class. So this type of things helps in the school of psychology, helps in the teachers as well as the students to have a better learning environment in the class. Number 13 is a social change. Nowadays, if you have seen that traffic awareness, green behavior, then throwing litters here and there, it not considered as a good behavior. We have seen that all there are tags given on the train, bus and everything, don't spit here, all these things. Why these things are given? Because it should transform the people to have a good mental, social and physical health. Now, psychologists have been employed to promote green behavior, that is sustainable development. In this case, their goal is behavior modification through strategies such as social marketing. Tactics include education, disseminating information, organizing social movements, passing laws, and altering taxes to influence decision. For an example, social change like Save Girl Child, Stop Dowry. So these all things are being done under the tutelage of social change. Social change only can bring a good social psychological environment, and the people are trying for that. Any movement that is positive movement and creates a very good ambience in the society, that comes under this type of applied psychology. Next, we can see the very latest psychology, that is the sports psychology. Sports psychology means to not only, you can see that in many games there has been a lot of problem between the coach and the players. Sorry. Now the coach wants to do something, he wants to take something from the players, and the players are not at all propelling with the direction that the coach is giving. Certain players have certain discrimination for the coach, or the coach indirects the way that they are not understanding. So in all these cases, sports psychology helps out. Sports psychology helps to understand the mental pressure through which a sports person is going. For an example, there is India-Pakistan match is going on, and we all are having our own views about that it should be like Dhoni should do like this, Virat should do like that, then only we can do this. But we are not understanding what type of psychological pressure they are going when they are playing the game, right? So here sports psychologist helps in understanding and in evaluating, as well as in giving solution to work under pressure, to have a good state of mind. We can say that Dhoni is a coolest captain. As a captain, how much pressure he comes, how much he shows in the cricket field. So these things are being subjugated by the psychologist. And this study is known as sports psychology. Let us understand the definition of sports psychology. Sports psychology is a specialization within psychology that seeks to understand psychological mental factors that affect performance in sports, physical activity and exercise, and apply these to enhance individual and team performance. Some of the most important skills taught are goal setting, relaxation, visualization, self-talk, awareness and control, concentration, using rituals, attribution training and periodization. The principles and theories may be applied to any human movement or performance task. For an example, playing a musical instrument, acting in a play, public speaking, motor skills. Motor skills means obviously the games that we do, cricket, hockey, kabaddi, any team, any player in the world goes through these psychological problems, and to maneuver these psychological problems, sports psychology helps in doing these things. Usually, experts recommend that students be trained in kinesiology. That means it should be students should learn that apart from their physical strength, mental strength is also applied in sports. Okay, so this thing comes under sports psychology. Now the last is a traffic psychology. Traffic psychology, as we know that generally when we are in hurry to reach certain destination, we are not obliging those traffic rules, rather we are crisscrossing the traffic rules. So at that time, because to reach early at that point or to reach at time at that point, we may not follow the traffic rules, and in that the traffic police also works out. He also tries to maintain the rules and regulations on road. So he also goes through all this process of psychological trauma. Even the person, for an example, if I want to reach the place at 11 o'clock, I should move from my home right from 10 o'clock. But as such, we always come to that place at the nick of time. That is also our psychological imbalance of understanding the importance of time. And that creates chaos in our road traffic problems. Now let us understand traffic psychology. Now traffic psychology is an psychology that is applied discipline within a psychology that looks at the relationship between psychological processes and cognitions and the actual behavior of road users. In general, traffic psychologists attempt to apply these principles and research finding in order to find out the problems that are being faced by the common man. For an example, like we are traveling late night, midnight travel in a car or in a two-wheeler. To the maximum, our psychological going is like that we should be secure, we should be safe till we reach home. So that penetration always goes in our mind also. So the traveling mode also like that only. We drive very swiftly, we don't drive slowly, we don't see the signals, and that end up in a chaos. Or sometimes the mindset, or like we have a problem in our family, we had a fight in our family, and then we are taking our vehicle and going on the road. So that mindset is going in our mind, that fighting thing, the tinge is going in your mind, and it is blasted on the road, right? So the psychology helps us in understanding that when you are in road, follow the rules and regulation, keep your things aside and concentrate on your way, rather than thinking what has not been done, what has